Democrats are moving forward on their fall legislative agenda, and progressives are pushing to include climate crisis measures as part of two key bills. The Biden administration is shooting to at least halve greenhouse gas emissions from their 2005 levels by 2030.
It is the existential problem facing humanity.
In order to achieve these ambitious goals, President Biden will need a cooperative Congress, and with thin Democratic majorities in both the House and the Senate, it's complicated. Right now, there are two main legislative routes in pursuit.
The first is a roughly $1 trillion infrastructure bill. This is going to include a lot of traditional things like roads and bridges, but it's also going to include some things that Democrats are branding as addressing climate change, like building electric vehicle charging stations.
The other is a $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation bill, and it's become the main vehicle for Democrats to address climate change.
The budget bill, which Democrats want to try to pass by themselves, includes a bunch of things, including a new tax on nations lagging and reducing their own pollution, as well as a fee on emissions of methane. Domestically, Democrats also want to institute a new set of requirements, which they call a clean energy standard, on power providers to try to shift them towards using zero emission or low emission forms of energy. The package is also going to include a slew of new and extended tax breaks for clean energy, and these could include things like, again, wind and solar, but also credits for people to buy electric vehicles.
But these two bills have two different pathways to passage. Democrats would be able to pass the reconciliation bill without Republican support, which is why it's more heavily focused on climate measures than the infrastructure bill.
Because that's a Democrat-only package, that is the one that includes most of the legislative efforts to address climate change and reduce U.S. emissions.
The two-track strategy is right on track.
On the other hand, getting bipartisan support on the infrastructure bill meant a lot of edits to Biden's original proposal.
Imagine knowing that you are handing your children and grandchildren a country that will lead the world in producing clean energy technology and will need to address one of the biggest threats of our time.
And in both chambers of Congress, Democrats have said they won't vote for the infrastructure bill without the reconciliation bill.
We need a reconciliation bill if this bipartisan bill is going to if we want this bipartisan bill to pass.
No climate, no deal. That's the only way in which we can respond. This bill has to meet the magnitude of the challenges which the climate crisis is presenting.
Biden is getting about half the money that he originally asked for building out electric vehicle charging stations. The bill also includes a number of provisions that will make it easier for certain sorts of projects, like certain pipelines, to get approved. But at the same time, this infrastructure bill also includes a new set of taxes on polluters that will be collected to help remediate toxic Superfund sites. So there's a bit of give and take here.
The clock is ticking politically and scientifically. July 2021 was the hottest year on Earth ever recorded, and the midterm elections could shift power away from congressional Democrats.
President Biden's party has a window where they control both chambers. That may not be the case after the 2022 election, where Democrats might lose their razor-thin 50-50 majority in the Senate, which is only controlled by the tie-breaking vote of Vice President Harris. And they also have a pretty slim majority in the House. They could lose either one of those.